Hello, fam. I'm trying out Gen Z slang to see if it makes me cool. Hello, fam. Here I am with the Artisan. Hold on a second. I didn't notice this when I started the video. There's a thing in the Hobbit hole. That's super cool. Nice. Um, so what game am I playing again? This is Artisan of Glimmith. I'm here at the Mismatch section. I'm thinking we're going to bejewel this window. There's 11 puzzles to go. Will I do them all in one video? If I was good at the game, yeah. We'll see. Let's start with this Hobbit hole puzzle. Let's start there. Yeah, mismatch. This is the rule where all the regions must have different shapes. And, oh, hey, we have a 6 rule. I've been talking about, I want to see more of these. We see a lot of tetromino and pentomino rules, which is great because, you know, if you do the same rule set multiple times, you start to learn. And an issue that just about every puzzle game in the world has, it's not really just these devs, is that early puzzles, they'll teach you some basic stuff, but when it comes to the difficult things, you really only get 1 or 2 shots at it. So you never quite learn how to do the difficult puzzles in most games. So the more that they give you the same difficult thing in a row, the better it is. Anyways, we have a bunch of 6s, and I've been chatting instead of starting. What do I start with? This one here seems pretty restricted. I could make this be one shape. Actually, hold on. I was saying that as if I was this brilliant inventor. That's the rule. That's just the rule. These do have to touch. Because if these don't touch, I have to have this shape again, and I can't have it. We have to have different shapes. So this shape has to be connected here, which means these two have to connect to each other. I think there's only one way to do that. I think it's this way. There's no other way that, yeah, there's no other way these will connect. Because they can't connect in this way. That's just, there's just not enough space to do anything. So it's this way. The rest of these, not as obvious what I'm going to do. So this piece here is certainly not going to move left and right. It's going to move up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could have this. No. I can't have this move down all the way because then we have a shape here. So that means the shape has to move up at least one space, which means that it moves up both spaces. Then we can't have that because that's not the shape. It's got to be here. Excuse me, good grief. So this shape, well, if I take this shape and I move it upward, it's already broken because I can't fill both of these spaces. So we can't move it up. So I think this is one way to do it, but this isn't going to work. The reason this is not going to work is that, hold on, does this fit this shape? No. I was going to say, the reason this doesn't work is I orphan a cell. I orphan a cell here. Or I make this shape again and orphan 2 cells. So it's not going to go that way. So I think what we have is this shape. Can't see another way to make this one without orphaning cells. So I think now we got to worry about a shape here and here. And this upper shape has to connect to the lower shape because if it doesn't, it's going to orphan that. So we got to have this shape. So now, I don't know if, is this right? Because if we do this, we can't have this be the shape because now we would have another copy of that. So how do I do this? Do I say something like this and then put the shape in here? I might, yeah. So what I'm thinking here is now it's that shape and then we get this weird shape here. So we should have 12 spaces left. Yes, we do. I'm so glad they added this quality of life thing because there were some puzzles earlier on, I think, where there were definitely where I had to count individually. And I didn't do that in every puzzle because it's just a lot of extra work. So there's probably some puzzles that were easier than I made them to be if I had just done the extra work ahead of time of counting every individual cell, which is kind of an unreasonable ask in my opinion. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, this isn't 10 pieces in this puzzle. So what are the shapes I haven't done yet? This? Yeah, this just seems like shapes I haven't done yet. Yeah, there we go. That's a good one. I like that one. I wish we had more just like do 10 in a row. That's just all sixes, all sextominoes or whatever we call them. So there should be some, there's sixes here. I'm looking for non-sixes and sevens at the moment. There's a 7. I'll do a 5. 5s are okay too. Precision of 5, so pentominoes we have a bit more experience with. So I know when we see this, we're going to have to make this arrangement here. So now, yeah, I'm going to put in... I have to find a way to make 3 separate pentominoes that all start with this piece. So with this guy, I can make a T shape or I can make a P shape. And that's really all I can make. And the same with this one. I can only make a T shape or a P shape. So with our green friend, we can't make a T or a P. So none of these can be the P. So it has to be a Y piece. Is there any way it's not this one? Like if I went this way instead, then I would need... I'm not sure. But I can't fill that, right? Well, I could because I could just fill that. How would I do this to just know the answer? Also, I wonder about this. We've got 2 sides. I think the objective here is that we figure out what pieces go up here, and then we know what pieces we can't put down here. The trouble once we get to pentominoes is it's a bit less reasonable to expect the player to have memorized every pentomino, I think. Like, I'm looking at this, and if at the shape, I can tell you, oh, this could be a P shape, a T shape. But if you said to me right now, hey, key of W, list every pentomino from memory, I probably would forget a couple, because there's at that point, there's quite a lot. There are definitely puzzle solvers who could, because it's something that's done a lot of puzzle solving. But again, like with this type of game, if you design it expecting a player to come in already knowing all those pentominoes, you're going to have a problem. Like I find that generally when you make a game, you should not create it with the expectation that the player already has done that work. So once we finish this top section, there's no way the game is going to expect me to know what the remaining pentominoes are from memory. So I'm going to have to work it out some other way. Unless, of course, the designers have messed up again, which again, I've talked about this in a previous video. I'll bring it up all the time, but I won't rant about it anymore. Developer trust. Since that trust has been broken, there's that part of me doing this puzzle, looking at how I'm going to do it, that thinks, do they expect me to do this bullshit? Or do they have an actual good way to solve it? And because I've done a bullshit puzzle before, I no longer trust that they have chosen correctly. You know what I mean? Now, instead of solving the puzzle, I've talked about it. Is there a way I can rule this out? Or at least, I know it. Is there a way I can rule that out? Well, whatever the case, this cell is not part of these guys here. So we could have this come all the way up, but maybe not. We can fill both of these with other cells. So whatever the case, this yellow space has to come down. So this isn't the T shape. That's, I think, the inference I need to make. So we have the T shape here. So we've got to give ourselves a shape coming down this end, which isn't going to be a V shape. We know that much because we won't be able to fill this space. If this comes up at all, it forces this piece over. Can't make an I shape because then we don't... Oh, no, we can make an I shape because this could be a P shape and we can make a W shape here and an S shape there. That's also possible. Can this be an L shape? Maybe. I think. This shape has to be new. Let's think of it that way. We've got to have a new shape up here because we can only reach over this way. This shape has to take the one down here, because if it didn't take that, we would have an orphan cell. It has to take that one, and it has to take this one and that one. So we are guaranteed to take these 4 cells, but whether it's... Oh no, we can't take a P shape because this is going to be a P shape. So we do have to take an S shape. So this is in fact, we are going to have to do it this way. So now the question is, do we make an L shape or an I shape? Because I have 2 options that are both possible. Oh dear. All right, so I'm not expected to know the answer to this part yet, I don't think. I think I'm going to get that answer down here, because if I make an I, an L, an N, or a W shape, I know the answer to this section. So here... Oh, this is going to be interesting, because now I'm just going to arbitrarily put a wall here for a second to demonstrate. It's not going to be there, maybe. But whatever happens, we have to start with a T shape. We know from these shapes up here that we can't have an extension to the side. We can't have an extension here or there. So we would block all of these and we'd be left with an F shape. So this is guaranteed F. Yeah, good. I didn't have to figure it out by remembering what the remainders are. I just had to work out these three aren't allowed. This is the F shape. How many are we going to fit in here? We're going to fit 6 pentominoes in here. Good grief. There's 6 up there as well. I got to get 12 of them. I think there's like 20 or so. So there's quite a few leftover choices. We don't have to hit every single one of them straight away. Can I work out by trying one what happens? Doing this is fine, because we can just put something down here. Well, hold on. If I put a straightaway like this, I'd force a V shape. Would that cause any problems? Well, this would force a V shape, and it would force a C shape. And I'll show you why. Because we wouldn't be able to do this. We'd have to move out. And then we wouldn't be able to move out again because that's another V shape. We'd have to move out from the other side. So if we did this, we would have these 2 shapes, both of which are legal. The trouble is, at this point, I'm just guessing. I'm saying, well, this works, but I don't know why this is right or wrong. So I have to find something else. This would be tricky because then this F shape would have to be... How would I do the F shape? Because if I put the wall down here, we would end up with that. Or the other way, which would have orphan cells. If I had the wall here... No, I could have the wall there. Ah, that's 2 F shapes. So it's not there. It's not here. Oh, not there. This is fine. That makes an N shape. I make all these red for no reason. See, here's the thing is, though, I guessed my way into this. Was I not supposed to do that? Because if not, what was I supposed to do? Was it... Right? Like, this is extremely unsatisfying way to solve a puzzle. It's not... Yeah, okay, so we don't have an N and an L. We have an I and a W up here is what we see. Because we have the N here, and then we're going to have an L shape right here. I'll show you. And then the cross shape will finish us off. Yeah, so it started off fine. Maybe there was a way to do this without guessing, but I guessed. And if you're watching and you haven't seen the rest of my rants, you'll go like, well, if you're just not a stupid player and you just, you know, actually work hard instead of guessing, you'll enjoy the game more. It's like, no, if the guessing is easier than the logic, then I'll take the guessing because I don't see the logic and I see the guess. You know what I mean? And so you as a puzzle designer, you're always facing this really, really difficult tightrope walk of you don't want to make puzzles too easy. You don't want to make players just see the answer immediately. That's no fun. But if the logic is harder than the guesswork, players are going to take the guesswork, and it's going to be your fault. It's not going to be the players. You can't turn around and tell players they're lazy for not doing your puzzles right. You just have to make better puzzles. There's supposed to be 9 more puzzles here. Where is this? Can I play this one? Thank you. Here's a 4. Different shapes, they're all 5s. Okay, this one... Okay, I like this start. Because we start with a bunch of L's, which is, you know, how I start my life. But it means that there's only 3 possibilities here. We either have the L pentomino. It's not going to be this one because it causes a problem. Actually, it's going to be that one either, so it has to be that one. But hold on. But before I get there, it's either going to be an L shape, a C shape, or an S shape. And we just worked out by me just demonstrating, well, this can't be an L, and that can't be an L because it creates orphan cells. So there's your L shape, which means this can't obviously be an L. It can't be a C. Well, it can because that can be an S. No, because that makes an S shape there. So this is the S shape, this is the C shape, and now we have an N and a Y. Like that. See, that one is a similar start to the one I had just done before, as far as like you have a bunch of almost complete and then you have to work out how to make sure they're all different. But then I didn't have to guess. I don't know. Okay, pentominoes again. Give me more sextominoes. I want to learn how to, like, approach them. I want to get a bunch of those in a row. Anyway, so we've got an L shape that's forced. We've got an L shape that's forced here. Well, like a miniature, a tetromino L is forced. And then a tetromino L is also forced here. So we've got some S shapes. So we've got some tetromino S shapes that are forced there. So now we got to work out the different shapes we can get. So from the L shapes, we got 3. We worked out last time. We have L, we have C, we have S. Or Z or Z. Now from these S shapes here, we have the N shape, the W shape, and the F shape. Actually, this is the only one that can make the F shape. Right? This one can make an N shape, W shape, F shape. This can't make an F, this can't make an F. F would go there, F would go there. So this is the F shape, which makes this the Z. You have to put somebody there. Which means this can't be Z. So this shape goes in C, that's L. This is a new shape. We can't have the W here because it makes an orphan cell. So that's N, that's W. So we get a nice V shape down here. And then we have a P shape and we're good. Yeah, see, that's how it should be done. It usually has the effect that if you make a puzzle that's good, it's easier. And I can see the temptation there to go like, well, this puzzle was actually really easy, whereas the 5 I did down here was a little harder. And yes, it was harder, and I did enjoy this puzzle, although I don't feel the greatest about it. And if you make a puzzle where the logic is really, really good and clean and there's a way to break in without guessing, it will always be an easier puzzle. There's just no way to not do that. But I think that's the right move. All right. Whatever piece takes here cannot take another piece, right? So if I put a piece right there, I've got 5. I can't take any more because then I would have to take all 6. So I think I have to start with my C shape. I have to start with that. Then this right here is going to be an N shape. It's either going to be that way or that way, and I do not know which. So if I went to the left, I would know that I have another piece here. So either way, these 3 go together. And if I have a piece here, I'd know that these go together. So these 3 are always together. What did I do there? Keep that at C, please. Can I do better than this? I'd like to say so. Well, I know the W is one of these 2. That's for sure. We've got a W over here somewhere. So what is the case? If I were... I think I need to not move to the left. I think I can actually see how this goes. I think I see the logic of this. It's a few steps ahead, but it's not so much that I would count it as guessing. And I'll show you what I just saw. If I move this to the left, I have to move this right. This would happen, which means I would need a shape here. I've got 3 here, and I can't take that one or I'm blocked in. So, no, I have a couple options. This option doesn't work because it makes an N shape. But I think the I shape actually just works because it makes a T shape. Yeah, fuck. That's the other problem with if your logic requires seeing multiple steps ahead, is that it's harder to do that, and it'll usually turn into a guesswork thing. If I did it this way, oh, that would just make 2 N shapes. That's a much easier logical step that I should have made, but I went this way first because I'm an idiot. This way gets me the logical step. So I do have to go to the left, gives me a W shape. So this has got to be a different shape. Not sure what it's going to be. So here it does have to be an I shape, because if this is a Y shape, we have another N. That's the I shape, and I think this is just a T shape. This here has to be a P shape. I don't think there's any way out of that. Yeah, because it's got to take all that. So this one here could be an L shape. Can't be W, can't be an N. So actually, if it bends down, I'm screwed. It can't bend down at all. So it's got to go across. It can be L or it can be an S. If it was the Z shape here, I'd have an F shape here. And then I'd have a cross shape down there. So what would that do for me? That would give me another F shape there, which I think is wrong. So I'll show you what I was doing with that logic. We make this shape. The only shape we can put is here. The only shape we can put is there. And now the only shape we can put here is an N or an F. Because if we take this space, we have to take that one. If we don't take this space, we have to take both of those. No, Y shape, Y shape. Here, let me change the colors of these. Y shape, actually. Oh, we haven't used the V shape or the L shape, right? Because I didn't use the L shape up here. Duh. I can put an L shape in. I just thought I don't have room for an L shape. Yeah. All right then. So now how many do we have left? We got 6 left. I think at this point I gotta start taking the 6s. Got a 6 here. That's 1 puzzle. A 6 is 2 puzzles. A 6 is 3 puzzles. A 6 is 4 puzzles. A 7 is 5 puzzles. Hold on, let's make sure I didn't miss one. There's one right. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just want to make sure. Ah! Yeah, let's get rid of the 4s. No more 4s. The 4s have been outlawed. Mismatch, precision. Alright, I only need 6 pentaminos. I think we start with a V. Like, we have to have somebody here. This is the only shape we can make. So how does that help us? We have to have something there. This is a different shape. But which way does it go? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's got to be somebody different here. Right? This could also be a different one. We don't know. Why wouldn't this be a P shape is the question. I don't know. It's possible we have a different shape. Actually, if there was a different shape here, if I put somebody else here, this would be an L shape. It would have to be. Which would mean this shape has nowhere to go. Right? This has to be L. The reason, if you didn't follow along, is I have to take it at least this far, and I can't bring this in. That cuts that off. But now this still doesn't have enough place to go. So this does have to be part of the orange cell. The question is, does it form the P, or does it do something else? If it didn't form a P shape, it couldn't take this cell, because if it takes this cell, let's take that one. So it would have to be blocked here. But it would have to take this cell for sure. And we could make a Y shape. That would force an I shape here. This doesn't work. Y shape here doesn't work because now we have an I shape, and this shape doesn't have enough space. So this is not that. So we could make a P shape or an F shape, and that's all we have. Both cases do take this one. Now if I take this cell here, I have the same issue as before. I can't fit another shape in there. So I think we do have a P shape so that we can fit something here. Now this isn't going to do. That makes another V shape. L shape here is bad because now we have another P shape there. F shape here. Now what goes there? I think this actually just touched that space here. No? Maybe there's another shape here I missed? Okay, let me ignore the orange for a second. Bring this shape up. If I didn't have this touch that space here, I couldn't have this shape, right? I couldn't bring this around. This could only go that far at most. But then, yeah, so it has to go there, and there's not enough room for it. So this does, in fact, have to come up. This could be a P shape. That means this needs to be a new shape, but it can't be something that isn't red, so the red's got to take that. The red's actually forced to be the P shape. This doesn't work. Something's wrong here. Is there a way? Can't do that. This can go... I could make this a T shape that's still a P shape. Then somebody needs to be here that's different. That makes a V shape. Yeah, this would also have to be a P shape. That doesn't work. This isn't right. Because then we have a shape there. C shape, L shape. No, this is now a P shape. We'd have to have a shape here that's different. What am I doing wrong here? I don't know what it is about the force. I don't get the force. I could just say from the very first inference it was wrong, but I don't think that's true. This one just seemed obvious. I have to have a piece here. It's got to be 5 spaces. It can't be that. So we know that's correct. It means we know we have a piece here. And we know we have something right there. We also know we have something here. These pieces have to come out. I know this can't be a new shape because then it creates a problem there. So we do have to bring this down. This shape, is there any other ones that we cause problems with? If this shape doesn't take here, well, it doesn't really say anything. This has to be a different shape, right? It can go down here at the most, so it will always take that space. Will it always take that one? If it doesn't take this space, we have a new shape there. It's a V. So it's got to take that. If this isn't red, it could be maybe teal is this. Maybe this is the Y, this is F. I think this will work. That'll work. How is it supposed to get it that way? I feel like I kept just trying things. What was the right step? This is another thing. Like, I've actually received pushback in this real life and online. Who gives a shit about online? Where if a person solves a puzzle and then goes, how was I supposed to solve that? There's always these defenders that rush in to go, actually, this was the answer. And that's not really helpful. Because regardless of whether or not the person solving the puzzle did it right, or they're stupid or whatever, they still solved it by guessing. And I can never now experience this puzzle the right way. That was my one chance I had to experience this puzzle the right way. And this is how it ended up going. So, like, I just had a bad experience with that. I don't know if it's bad, because this one didn't come across to me like the match puzzles, which genuinely were. But, like, that's just how it goes. And if you're watching this going, well, it's your fault because there was an easy logical step here. Well, guess what? I didn't see it. I just didn't see it. And puzzle designers, you can't fix that. If I don't see it, I don't see it. And there's no way for you to defend the puzzle. It's just, if you don't see it, it sucks. Let's start doing our 6s now. Do I want to do them all in one video? Maybe I don't. It's approaching the half-hour mark, and I'm trying to keep these somewhat more bite-sized. So let me jump to another section and just take care of some puzzles that are 4s and 5s. Like that one. Let's take care of this 5. Ooh, this is a big one. This one looks fun. Solitude. So let's start off with the obvious moves, which are those. And obvious move number 2. So this straightaway here has got to be that. We don't need to worry about everything being the same or whatever. We just need to make sure that solitude is the thing. I actually really like the solitude rule. The puzzles tend to be a lot better. There's just certain rules where the puzzles tend to work better. I don't know what it is about them. Okay, well we know this has got to be the case. We also know that this has got to be the case. We don't know anything else about this yet. I have a feeling that these regions are going to be extremely large, right? Because there's not many Palisade regions compared to how many of these ones we've got. Like, we've got this like, the area regions just aren't taking up a lot of space. Because we could say the 7 takes up a bit, but who's going to touch this space here? Well, it could be the purple space I've created, or the 7 could come down and get it. Okay, we've got to make this straight away. Straight away down here as well. Oh, hold on, that's not straight away. I'm stupid. That's a dead end. Let's see. Where can we fit stuff? This looks restricted. No, this is a possibility, but so is that. I think the only thing I can say is I can't put a wall here. That's not true. I have absolutely no restrictions on this piece. This cross has some restrictions on it. I can put it in with the center right on this symbol, but I can also move it to the right one space. No, I don't think I can do this. I thought, well, the 5 doesn't have enough space. Well, it does have enough space. Oh, right, it can't take a solitude. I was going to say, it could be part of this, but then we'd have an orphan cell there anyway. So I think the cross is, in fact, here. Which means this 5 is going to take... I was going to say this 5 is just going to take those 5, but it could be that this moves up one space. So the 5, well, the 5 has to take these two. Now who's going to take, right? Like, let's say this is correct. Let's say I didn't screw this one up. Hold on, I did screw this up. Well, I didn't screw it up. It's possible that's where the cross goes, but it's also possible the cross moves up. And this 3 comes down, and then the 5 takes everything but that. It does, in fact, fit. And I hate that it fits, because it means it's possible, even though it's not likely. So in other words, the only thing I know is that these two are together. That didn't get me very far. This piece is interesting. If I made it move left and right, I've got to fill all of these pieces with just the cross and the Y shape. Maybe that's the step. So if this cross is up here, how on earth am I going to fill these spaces? Because Solitude, everybody's got to have a symbol. The cross can't take any more. The Y has to take them all. So no, I was right. The cross has to go here, and now the Y goes there. It either comes down or it goes across, but we're not really sure. So yeah, I was right. So back to this logic. The 5's got to move up. Now, in this space, it can only be taken by the 5 or by the straightaway. The straightaway can move up just once because we have to put a wall here. That means at most, 5 takes these two, so it must come up one more spot. Could take both of those spaces or both of those. Well, no. It could just be all 5 of these. This doesn't have to move up. Because of this, the logic goes the other way around. You dumb whatever. I have to take at least those 2. There's no other piece, so I can only go up one more space. And in fact, if I were to stop here, this 3 would be broken because I would need to take all of these spaces. So we do, in fact, take these. And this 3 right here has got to be that elbow. This is going to be interesting because now I have to have a piece right here. Let's grab purple. It can't be this one. So which symbol is it going to touch? It's actually going to be this symbol right here. We have to do it that way. And this one comes out. We got to block that off. If this 2 moves down, we have problems because this can't be part of the 2, but it can't be part of the straightaway. So what symbol is it going to touch? In fact, this straightaway can't come down to here. So this is a completely new symbol. It could be part of the N, right? Could be that. Could be part of the 7, but it's not part of the 2. So we don't know which direction this goes yet. Do I know anything more about this? I do not. This is a good section. I liked working this one out. Well, if I moved this way, it would just put a big restriction on our W shape here, but it wouldn't break it. It would just be like this. If I move down this way, don't know if I would break anything either. The palisades have a lot of freedom to move around because like the area shapes and the polyominoes are restricted to low numbers, but I could make a palisade thing be really long. I could do that kind of stuff. Just have to make sure that the exact cell with the symbol is restricted, but that's it. This cell can only move down one more space over here, or this purple. It can move all over everywhere else, but it can't go in there, so it does stop here. How about this good old C shape? That's a way we can do this. Any other way we can do this? That's no, because this 5 is now out. It can't be part of the 5. This makes an orphan. I'm trying to think of ways. I don't know what it is about C shapes. I feel like I really easily overlook arrangements of the C shape. So let me think of it without rotating it. Without rotating it, this is one arrangement, and this is one arrangement. This arrangement seems to work because I can put the L shape like that. We also have that arrangement, which doesn't seem to be a problem. All right, we have multiple arrangements. Can I ever rotate it, though? That I should know. Can I ever rotate this? If I rotate it clockwise once, it'd be like this or like this, which does break the puzzle multiple ways. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. I can't bring it up that way. So what if I did 180 degrees? It would have to be, this is the only arrangement that works. That doesn't work. I mean, it works for the C shape, but it breaks the 5. Counterclockwise, 90 degrees is this way, and it's the only arrangement that works, I think, because of these walls. So I think we've worked out from that it's either this arrangement or that arrangement. Neither of them share any cells except for the one with the symbol in it. So I don't know the answer. Actually, I think I know, regardless of which one it is, that this 5 is going to take that cell right there. It's not going to be a different shape. Because if I go this way, the 5 takes all 5 of these cells. If I go this way, the 5 has to come up into there because the purple can't reach it, and there's no other thing that can. So I know the 5's got to be there, but that's all I know. Because in this case... No, hold on. This case, the 5 also has to take that cell. So it has to take all 3 of those. The question is whether it takes these 2 or those 2. So that was a lot of work for that corner, and I think there was probably a better place for me to look. I probably could have done better than this. Let's see. Well, now the L with the C, I should think about the same logic here. We have to fill all the cells in here with just an L and a C. So what are the ways that I can fill? This shape can never be part of the C, so it has to be part of the L. Right? This L has to move left. That's the answer. If it doesn't move left, the C's got to go up, but there's no arrangement that works for the C. So the L's got to go left, but that means the L can't go down this way, because now we don't have that shape. So it's going to be blocked there, so the C's got to take, so this one is the correct arrangement. Maybe that logic was what I was supposed to find, and I didn't find it sooner because I was so set on getting this C shape in. So this is how that goes. I don't have to worry about 2 things next to each other being a problem. Nope, it's just, this is really the only thing. The rest of these are all doing what they do. That's interesting. Some rules are like that. There's some rules where you look, like the area number. You look at it and you know what this rule is telling you. And there's other rules you just have to keep in the back of your mind. There's 2 types of rules in the game. These rules tend to, well, they tend to work a lot more easily, like you can understand the puzzles quicker. These rules are hit or miss. Solitude seems to be easy enough to get, but sometimes when I struggle with understanding the rule, it's because it's this type of rule. Rather than one that you can look at the puzzle and it's telling you what to do, it's just some stricture that you have to keep in the back of your mind. Anyway, this 6 has got to take... 6 can't take that piece. Right, so this 6 here, if I take this piece error, I will have orphan cells, because I have 4 left and to fill, but only 3 left for this piece. So this 6 can't take that cell, which means it has to take all of the others. So I think we can safely say this bottom corner is done. So now, how do we do this guy and that guy? Let's think about this F shape. We have a couple options for it. So here's one way I saw. Well, actually, think of it this way. Can I put a wall here? The answer is no. There's no F shape that fits. Because remember, I have to basically have a 3x3 section for an F shape, right? It's fitting within one. It doesn't take all the cells of it, but at some point down the center of a 3x3 section, I have to have 3 in a row, either facing vertically or horizontally. So this could be it, but then I would need to move... Oh, that's orphan cell. Can't do that. I can't have it centered here. There's a wall in the way, so it'd have to be this way. Can't move into that spot, so it has to move either here or there. If it moves here, then we need the other piece to be there. If it moves here, then it's here, and then we have a problem. So that's got to be connected. So now it's a matter of this can't be the 3 in a row because we would move down and up into here, or we'd move down into there and up into there. Or up here and down there. Or down here and up there. You see what I mean? So these 2 got to go together, and then we got to stop. So we could do these 3 like so, but we'd cause an orphan cell. In fact, there is no way. So we have to block this. So now we have this choice. This choice breaks the puzzle because we would need to fill this with this, and now this Y shape can't be completed. We also have this choice, which I think is just the correct choice, but it also could be that one. The reason I think this is the correct choice is because we do it this way. This S shape has to take all 4 of these, which it can't do. So there we go. Time for Z shape. I alternate between these 3, Z, S, Z, just to piss you off. Let's think about these cells in here. Our red straightaway section can come down, but it can't turn left. It can take this one, but it creates orphan cells. This is the furthest this can go, which means who is going to take this cell? Who's going to be brave enough to take this one? The only one that can get it is the 4, which means if I don't take this cell with red, we are overloaded on 4. So this is how we do it. This 4 down here is also set now. Okay, how do I fill these? I just see how to do this. I just see it magically. I don't want to fill it, or sorry, I don't want to fill here, right? Because as soon as I take this down, I cause a problem on that side. So this one can't move down. So to get down here, I've got to get this cell. This cell has to be there somehow. So it has to move down and take all of those. And then up here, we take all those. That's nice. I actually really like this puzzle so far. I've made some mistakes on it because I'm not very smart, but I really do like it. Who's going to take this cell? Not be you, not be you. Certainly not be you. That's the Y shape. Hold on. It could... there is the off chance it's this one. But it would... No. It would require such... No. The path is not going to work. Path's not going to work. I thought, what if it goes around? It's just not enough room for it to go around and allow the Y shape out. So there you go. How do I go from here? So let's think about this W shape now. W and the N shape in here both have to fill this inside space. So if the W shape doesn't go in at all, we're screwed. So we can't block this, can we? Well, we could do it this way. Let's see. But if I can't do that either. I've got to go in at least some point, but I can't go in that way. Can't go in this way. If I go in just one space to the left, I would have to bring this down and this over, but I couldn't move here and I couldn't move there. So this does in fact get blocked. So I have to move in by going up. This seems possible so far, but it isn't. That's because I would have to have a new set here. I would have to take these 3, and then what would touch this section? There's nobody left to do so. So I have to also go in this way so that I can bring this down. I'm going to change your color to red. And then this 3 right here is going to be yellow, and then we just bring this around. This could still come up, but we're not sure. So now we got to do this. Is there any other way to do this? That it has to be. So that's done. So are we just complete? I think we just kind of have this one done. We have to take these 5. Right? Now, how many cells I got left? I got 9. I got to take 7 and 1. So this has to be taken. This has to be taken. And then we're good. That was a good one. I like that puzzle a lot. Solitude is the best. In the game as well. We'll end things there. Thanks so much for watching. I will be back next time, maybe to finish this off, maybe not. Maybe I'll just jump around randomly, because that's what I like to do. In the meantime, y'all have yourselves a good day, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.